Well, it's been in some of the news lately, but it's kind of our local newspaper has shrunk down in size so far that they just leave lots of news out. But this woman was blinded when her boyfriend threw acid in her face.
Yeah.
And horribly scarred and blinded. And she's been in Spain trying to get some medical treatment for her eyesight. Meanwhile, the boyfriend is being tried in the courts of the Arabic country. Are you ready for this? They declared him guilty. And the penalty? Do unto others as you'd have others do unto you. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. So she now has the right to throw acid in his face. But, here comes the part I really like. Since a woman is only worth 1/2 of a man, she can only blind him in one eye, not both of them. And we're talking about rational people here. We're talking about Muslims. A minute ago we were talking about Catholics, now we're talking about Muslims. And in our humblest of opinions, and that's the editorial we, that's me, they're all nuts. They're 100% nuts. Anyhow, I just had to throw that in because
I did not know that.
The religious pressure on laws and justice are just incredible.
That's why we need secular laws. Of course, secularism is a dirty word to a lot of religious people nowadays, unfortunately. And to go back to the Catholic Church, the reason, this original sin, which we all have, the heretic is a danger to himself and to everyone around him because the soul can burn in hell, and sometimes you have to kill the body to save the soul. That is the justification for all those horrible tortures that went on during the Inquisition.
Now, can't you imagine a man being tied to it seemed to be mostly men except for witches, tied to the post and the fire flaming up around him, and that's supposed to cause a conversion for him to grasp some God and say, God, I really like you, I'm not really mad at you, and that's all over.
The darndest thing, though, a lot of this violence that we've described, the throwing of acid in the faces of girls, that's actually quite common in the Middle East. It's been done for example, in Afghanistan, schoolgirls had the acid thrown in their face just recently.
Oh, really?
About, 6 of them or so, and most of them were blinded. The Taliban doesn't want women to be educated. They want them to be illiterate. That's what they want. And in Somalia, I think everybody's heard about this tragic story. This poor girl, 13 years old, reporting a rape.
Oh, that was a horrible story.
And then being stoned to death for going through this. It's so terrible that, why would you people, when you get right down to it, why would you want to believe in a God that allows things, that seems to support things like this? And the Bible is filled.
Well, I think the background of that stoning that poor girl to death were several. One, you can't convict a man of raping a woman unless you have some eyewitnesses, which is a little bit hard to find, Mostly that sort of thing is carried on in secrecy and quiet. And she was found guilty, and the guy said it was consensual sex. And since he was found not guilty, it must have been consensual sex. Therefore, she is a fornicator, and the penalty for fornication is to be stoned to death. Now, in America, we have a word, it's Jesuitical, means the way the Jesuits think. The Jesuits have this convoluted logic that goes on, and this convoluted logic in Afghanistan was that since she made a complaint, and the guy said it was consensual, and he was found not guilty, therefore it must have been consensual. Never occurred to him that maybe it just wasn't proved. It must have been consensual, and if it were consensual, then she deserves to be stoned to death by her friends, neighbors, parents, and family. It's a beautiful religion. Beautiful. I don't know why everybody doesn't join.